Let's get it.
All right.
Good morning, and thank you for joining me in Truth and Consequence and getting to know you, your platform, and your campaign for State Superintendent of
Mhm.
Education. How are you
Yeah.
today?
Well, I am doing blacknificent. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for it. So, I want to start off. I want you to tell everybody about yourself, your background, and then we're going to jump into why you're running.
All right. Well, my name's Dr. Baba Amin Ojuok. I'm originally from Fort Worth, Texas. I've been living in South Carolina since 2019.
Okay.
I'm an independent educator, co-founder, along with my beautiful wife and co-yo, of the Uhura Academy and Uhura Academy Education Solutions. And we're basically an education enterprise that specializes in education solutions that impact Black children. I've been involved with working with youth and families for the past 30 years. Matter of fact, what brought me here to South Carolina was helping a family that I trained in our model here at the UASC Learning Center in Hopkins, and I actually live on the campus of our private school here in Hopkins, South Carolina. I've been involved politically since I've been here, primarily with the United Citizens Party. I was honored to be an elector in 2024 to help put Dr. Cornel West on the ballot here for president in South Carolina. And yeah, I'm a husband, a father. We raised 8 children together, 5 out of the house. We got 3 more to go. Whew,
Y'all been
eight
busy.
is eight is certainly enough. Uh, you
Y'all
know,
need y'all
uh,
own TV
right,
show.
right. I'm also a conscious hip hop artist and producer, writer, creative. But primarily I'm an educator and a father.
Awesome. You mentioned Dr. Cornel West. When I
Mhm.
went to Howard, I went to school with his son.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we were in the same class of 2000. So, don't know what he's doing now, but yeah, he
Yeah,
always
yeah,
wanted to live up to his father's standards. So I remember
yeah.
him. I remember Cliff very well.
Yeah, I just recently shared an event with Dr. West at the African American Museum in Charleston a couple of months ago. The UCP, we hosted about 100 high school students there.
Okay,
And yes, and had the opportunity to speak to them and then to bring Dr. West on. And it was a great experience.
that's awesome.
Hmm.
So you said you've been an educator for 30 years. That's a long
Yes,
time.
it
So why do you
is.
want to stop being an educator and become superintendent?
Well, you know what? You never stop being an educator, right? And I don't plan on stopping
Okay.
now.
Okay.
It just kind of changes form, because I believe as superintendent, there's some educating that needs to be done. Some people need to learn how to not bring political bias into our school system. We need to educate our teachers on how to empower our students, help our students. Part of my platform is vision development for every student. We
Okay.
focus so much on credits and so much on grades. Do that baby even know what they want to do?
They
And,
should
and,
know what
and
they want to do
they
by a
should
certain time,
they
right?
should want to know. And sometimes they do know, but they can give you a vague answer. But can they tell you how they're going to get there? And I feel like we could do a better job of building pipelines for our students and making sure that every student graduates from our schools in South Carolina with a plan, not just a dream, but with a plan, right? And
Well,
the I got involved in the race. United Citizens Party stepped to me. Some elders that I respect called me and it was like, man, when you throw your hat in, when you throw your hat in the ring, we need somebody that doesn't belong to the Democrats, that doesn't belong to the Republicans, and that's not afraid to say what working class people want. We talk a lot about the middle class, a lot about the upper class, but what about working class people? What about
right.
working class South Carolinians and working class industry, people who are fighting for a living wage, people who want to bring dignity back into the trades. And I tell a lot of my friends, what you're afraid to say in front of these folks, I'll say it.
Well, good. So, when Superintendent Weaver got elected 4 years ago, she
Mhm.
didn't meet the qualifications at the time. So, would anything prevent you from being able to take your seat? Because she had 18 months to finish her master's and
Mhm.
anything. So, will you be able to meet the education qualifications to be superintendent? Because you have to have a master's degree at
Well,
minimum.
at minimum, right? And I do have a doctorate that's honorary, and so if we run into an issue in that area, we'll see. We'll see what happens, right? If we run into an issue there, then we'll just have to see what happens.
See, I'm gonna tell you now.
Yeah.
You already know the state of South Carolina. It's a red state. You're gonna
Oh
run
yeah.
into an issue with an honorary degree. So,
Well, that's
what's your
fine.
plan? And
Hmm.
what when they bring you before and say, "Hey,
Hmm.
you only have an honorary degree. What's your plan to meet this goal in 18 months?" Because that's the
Okay.
goal. I gotta know the law. So the law
Yeah.
says you got 18 months. So what's your goal?
I guess the goal would have to try to reach it in 18 months. But if not, then that's something we have to consider. I might just run and make a whole bunch of noise and
Okay.
be a distraction. I'm an independent party. I ain't worried about none of that. I don't need a job. I work for myself, right? So what we do need to have is some more honest conversations and more platforms
And that's
that
what we're
center
trying to
us
have. But I want for you to
unapologetically.
give them that honest conversation. I
Hmm.
want you to make sure that we're going to be able to say he qualifies, and there's nothing we can do to stop him because, like again, this red state
Right,
that she wasn't qualified.
right,
Lisa Ellis fought that 4 years ago. Want to make sure
right.
you're qualified. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So what is
yeah.
your
No,
top pro? Go ahead.
no, I'm saying I respect that. I respect that. But at the same time, I've been fighting for education, particularly in our community, outside of the office. And sometimes you can make more damage outside the office, or make a bigger difference outside the office than inside. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Okay, let's cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah.
So, what is your top priority for South Carolina schools in your first year, and how will you measure success?
I love that. I love that. Um, I would say top priority would be making sure that we strengthen the relationship between our schools and our industry,
Okay,
right? And we can measure that. That's so measurable, right? Because what we want to do, we want to increase having young people graduate not just with diplomas, but also with certifications. Right, and so if we can increase that, people graduating with cybersecurity certifications, you can graduate with electricians apprenticeships, drone pilot licensing, right. So I would be pushing primarily to make sure we're marrying our students to industries in our state to keep our best and brightest in our state.
that's awesome. So, South Carolina still struggles with student achievement. What specific strategies will you implement to improve outcomes statewide?
All right. So the first thing is I'm going to advocate for us as a state to look at the metrics by which we measure success.
Okay,
South Carolina is routinely ranked between 41st and 44th in the nation in education, right? And a
right.
part of that is yes, we need to do better in a lot of areas. But also a part of that is the way things are measured through standardized testing and that sort of thing that's incomplete, that's culturally biased. We need to make sure that we're challenging that and coming together as they say, how do we measure success for our students? Another thing I would do is take a focus because then we could take the focus primarily not just on grades, but also on vision and on planning and on pipeline building,
Okay.
right? Right. You measure success beyond a GPA. Does this baby know what they're gonna do? We're losing so many potential plumbers, so many potential electricians and builders and doctors we're losing so much potential because of the metrics are limited, the metrics are culturally biased, right? And this is a state with a very large African American population. So if you have a large African American population and you don't even ground African American children in their culture as a part of the education process, all studies show that this is what you can expect as far as outcomes, not to
Oh,
mention fighting poverty at the same time.
all right now. The superintendent oversees a multi-billion dollar education system. How will you ensure transparency and accountability in spending?
Uh, Number one, by building a great team around me. Right.
Okay.
We're gonna bring in people on our team that know how to dot the I's, know how to cross the T's, and that have proven integrity. I think also as we get away from the big two, this duopoly, it's time to bring people in who don't have that security blanket to where I can be corrupt, but as long as I spit out the talking points, everybody, what can you do about it, right? And because we
Right.
look at corruption every day, right in
Mhm.
our face.
Hmm.
Right in our face. Nothing we can do about it. So we need people. The people need to show that we could put somebody in there that actually belongs to the people and that's transparent. We're there to be transparent, not there to cover up the cronyism, not there working for those who put all the money into our campaigns. So big pharma to make sure we continue to over misdiagnose children with behavior issues. So we have to kind of clean this corruption out of the way, and all of those who've monetized failure, because failure has been monetized, right? And we
Right.
have to we have to clean that stuff out the way and go in and start fresh with goals that center children.
Okay. Teacher shortages remain a major issue.
Mhm.
What concrete steps will you take to recruit and retain teachers?
Oh, you know what teachers want to be? Teachers want to be empowered.
Okay.
Teachers want to be empowered to be able to implement strategies that they know will work, right?
Right.
Teachers don't want to be inundated with a lot of extra work with shorter pay.
That's true.
Okay. Teachers don't want unrealistic expectations. Teachers don't want to be in situations where it seems like, have we been set up to fail? Right. And so, what we're going to do again, and that's why we're going to challenge the metrics and challenging the metrics on behalf of students and teachers to make sure that we have reasonable goals that we can reach, that we can match for. I'll give you an example. If you have a young person, a student who has routinely tested below grade level,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
And at the end of the year, let's say I'm tested at a third grade level, right? And at the end of, and I'm a seventh grader. Let's say at the end of the year, I'm at a fifth grade level. Well, the way things are measured now, well, that student is still below grade level. But no, that student came up 2 grade levels from where they are. So if we do more of recognizing where children are
Hmm.
rather than where we say they should be, then we can measure success based on that. That's centering the child. We use terms in our school system like he's behind, he's behind, they're behind. No, they are where they are. Let's focus on where they need to be. When they don't pass a class, you failed. What a horrible term, right? You failed. No, that class is a challenge for you. Challenges are meant to be overcome, right? And I think that a cultural shift inside of our school system is necessary. One that puts our children on a path to success rather than on a path to failure. And definitely we need to work on our relationship with the prison system.
Okay, so let me piggyback off of what you said. So you just noticed, I'm not sure if you paid attention to the news lately, but they
Hmm.
were saying that teachers are no longer going to be doing they're going to make pass this bill where teachers don't give them the bare minimum grading.
Hmm.
So students are going to actually have to get what they earned.
Hmm.
So how do you feel about that?
Um, I feel good about it. My issue is how we label them once they earn what they earn. My issue is that there's too much divestment when students don't do well, rather than investment when students are challenged.
Okay.
That's my issue. My issue are the tracks that we put them on to avoid them counting against the test. Well, they're gonna label you special ed. Is he special ed? Is she special ed?
Really? Yeah,
Right?
yeah, that's a
Really?
question.
Really? Are they really special ed?
Or are
Or
you
do we
just
need to move?
lazy?
Are they just lazy? Or the diet? Or is the diet bad? Or are they going through something? Are they dealing with trauma? Are they unique learners? Everyone don't learn the same way. Genius does not pop up the same in everybody.
That's true. So, okay, so I guess that means that parents need to be more involved and be held
Absolutely.
accountable because I know from being a parent, no
Hmm.
matter how well you raise your
Hmm.
child can go off to the wrong path.
Hmm.
You know,
Absolutely.
no matter how smart they are, they can make
Hmm.
piss poor decisions. Trust me, I'm
Right.
a living witness. But then we have parents who blame the teachers or the school systems or the education system for
Hmm.
their child or their children not passing.
Hmm.
Like the lady who did that video that went over social media over the last few years. Her son was should have been in the 12th grade,
Hmm.
only had a 1.7 GPA because he had failing all of his classes. And when
Okay.
she went on her news rant with the news, she was like, "But the schools failed him." Well, man, where were you?
Mm.
And all these years your son was in school, You didn't know your son wasn't going to school. He had 200 and something absences. You didn't know he was failing all of his classes. How are you blaming the school system
Hmm.
without looking at yourself? It's not just the school or the system failed my child. How did
Hmm.
I fail my child?
Right,
Right.
right. Right.
Okay.
Well, I believe in accountability, but I also believe in empowerment, right?
Okay.
And I think on the other end of that scale is sometimes the powerlessness that particularly working class people feel when in not you as a parent, but many working class people feel when they engage with the system. There's also issues, of course, like I have a saying in our school, we control the process, the children control the results. Right,
Okay.
right. And so we're responsible for the process. We're responsible for tilling the soil. We're responsible for watering the seed. But it's something inside the seed that has to pop in order for it to germinate. We can't control the germination part. We just set the conditions. And of course, parents have to be accountable on the soil that they're planting the seed in. Parents should be aware whether or not their children are going to school, right? Right.
That's true.
There's no
But
getting around that. Now, are
not
there
just
things?
going to school. Are they doing their
Yes, yeah.
work? Do
How
they
well they're
need help?
doing the whole 9 yards, right?
Because
But
they
what
don't
I
tell the
also,
parents that they need
right,
help.
right,
That's not the teacher's fault. I mean, I'm not
right,
taking up for teachers. I'm not
right,
putting teachers down. I'm
right,
neutral. I'm not taking
right,
anybody's side. I'm just
right.
saying we all have to work together
We
as a
all have to work
team.
together, right? And things happen too. We also can't, we're not going to paint all teachers with a broad brush. We're not going to paint the system with a broad brush, but we also are not going to paint parents with a broad brush either, right? And a negative outcome from a student is not always indicative of bad parenting. I know good parents with interesting children.
This
Okay.
now good
All right.
parents have interest in children for
Yes.
behavior driven. Um,
Yes. Yes.
and it's
You
like
know,
what the
right,
but
right,
but you're
right.
passing all your classes.
Right, right, right. So it happens. It varies. And I think what we have to do is you take these things case by case, right? And where accountability goes, that's where you lay the accountability. People are going to come out and talk. They're going to blame the system. The frustrated teachers and frustrated people of the system, they're going to come out and blame the parents. The truth is usually somewhere in the middle. Because when we get
Gotcha.
frustrated and say, well, it's the parents, sometimes that also means I have a pass. I don't have to send him work when he's suspended. He has a bad parent. I don't have to follow up. They have a bad parent. I don't have to worry about that kid. It's the parent. So we can't hide behind the bad parents, right? So we kind of have to balance that at the same time.
Okay, gotcha. So, do you believe the current teacher pay is competitive? If not, what changes would you advocate for?
Short answer, no, and raise it. Right?
Right.
No, it's not competitive. The answer is to raise the pay, and the money is there. We just, again, when you center students, you center teachers, you pay for what's important to you. You pay for what your priorities get paid.
Awesome. How would you support teachers beyond salary, especially in high poverty or rural districts?
All with resources, with ideas, with out of the box thinking, with training opportunities, professional development, training opportunities. Over the years, I've been working throughout the country with independent education programs. When I tell you there's some real genius out here that just doesn't fit the mold of the traditional system because it would move money from being punitive towards being progressive, right? There's some methods, some methodologies out here that will work, that have been proven to work. I will bring that into the system. I will make sure that our teachers are motivated, that they understand how important they are, that they take pride in their work. And most importantly, I'll listen. Because we may not be able to give you everything you want, but doesn't it feel good to be listened to and to talk to somebody who's going to lead by serving?
Yes, gotcha. Let's talk about student achievements and curriculum.
Okay.
South Carolina has invested heavily in literacy and math initiatives. What
Hmm.
is working and what needs to change?
Okay. Um, Last I checked, it's not working too good, particularly in the African American community. So,
Okay.
so as far as because we have a large population, large group that's consistently ranking at the bottom. when it comes to literacy and when it comes to math, right? And it's kind of like a national model that way. If you travel the country, you'll see that the statistics in South Carolina kind of mirror states throughout the South, right?
Okay.
And so to remedy that, I say you shore up, you strengthen that group that's consistently at the bottom. Conservatism, they like to talk about top down, pay the rich first and it'll trickle down. No, you build from the foundation up, right? And so what the issue with literacy, right? Number one, what they're reading isn't culturally relevant. Children who see themselves in the story perform better. That's number one. Okay. Same with math, right? So there needs to be more culturally relevant material, available for our students. Okay. Two, expectations have to be high, not low, right? So you have to raise the expectations, but in doing that, you have to teach with vigor. You have to teach with enthusiasm. You have to, what I'm saying? Everyone in the room needs to want to be in the room eventually. And you can build a classroom that way. There are classroom models inside of South Carolina that are doing the teachers that are doing amazing things. We need to get those teachers, empower those teachers to train other teachers and until we solve this issue. But I believe it's solvable. I think again, when you see yourself, when you take ownership of what you learn, you perform better. When you feel like a guest at the table, you don't perform as well.
That's true. Okay. How should curriculum decisions balance academic standards with parental input?
Okay, you said how could curriculum decisions?
Balance academic standards
Mm-hmm.
with parental input.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
By creating opportunities for parents to be engaged and to be involved, right? One of the things that we do at the Uhura Academy, many of our parents volunteer as instructors. Inside of our school, those who are qualified that have something to offer, they volunteer as instructors. One thing we also do is that we have our parents come in and talk to students about what they do,
Okay.
right? Right. Why not create a reading comprehension assignment about little Simon's uncle who's been in the lumber business for 30 years in Issel, South Carolina, and you know what I'm saying? Why not with technology and the innovations with AI and things like that? Why not personalize the curriculum more? Right. And get our family stories involved in the curriculum. It's such a rich history in South Carolina. Why not get our family stories? Why not talk about all of the black townships like Lincolnville and others that were founded during Reconstruction and integrate that not as a black history curriculum, just a part of the curriculum. You
I
ain't
just
got
had
to
that
call it black. You
conversation.
just put it in there, right?
Curriculum. Because,
Make it
we had a conversation with a girlfriend of mine the other day, and
Mhm.
she was saying that the literacy rate in South Carolina is pretty low. And she says the part of the problem is we stop teaching our children, the basics, right? We
Mhm.
put them in front of a computer, we put them in front
Yeah,
of a television, let them do
right,
whatever, or a gaming
right.
system. She says, but I think the easiest thing to do is to have your child interview the oldest person in the family
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
get to know what that person did,
That's
what
right.
life was like when they were their
Hmm.
age and as a child and growing up. She says that'll probably
Hmm.
get them more engaged, for our
Yes.
conversations. Like that'll probably get them more engaged and want to be like, well, wait a minute. You did this, but I'm doing this. Let them see
Right.
this, like how different things are, and let the children start to basically do their research, and that'll teach them research skills, that'll
Hmm.
teach them how to critical thinking and other measures as
Absolutely.
well. So I see what you're saying.
Absolutely. We at the Uhura Academy, our school, we do ancestor reverence projects throughout the year. Our
Okay.
students are doing family trees, they're interviewing elders, we're bringing parents in just to talk about what they do for a living, the whole 9 yards. And their reading scores are off the charts. I have ninth graders that are testing on the 12th grade level in
Okay.
reading. I have fourth graders that are testing on seventh grade level, right? And
That's
it's
awesome.
because the thing is they enjoy what they're reading and writing. They're picking up their basic skills, right? And even though we have a campus program, we also have an online program. Even though we have an online program, we have our students writing on paper as well as typing on the computer, right? And so you integrate it. You integrate skills inside of it. You get parents involved by making them subjects and objects of what we're talking about, bringing the
Okay.
family into the curriculum. We count,
We
right?
do.
We're history too.
We're
And so
parents.
yes, and so when we again when we engage families like this is you, this
Hmm.
education, you are part of this. No, no, you're in the curriculum.
That's
That's
true.
a different level of engagement. Also, more opportunities for students to perform and show what they learn. Not just, we have to have chess competitions. We have to bring strengthen the arts in school, right? And give students more opportunities to express themselves, perform. Parents love to see their babies perform. All right. I have a teacher that I've trained in DeSoto, Texas, and every year he does a Black History program at his school. He's at a STEM magnet school in
Okay.
DeSoto, Texas. And when I tell you those babies get up and they say quotes from Malcolm X and quotes from Dr. King and with vigor and energy. And when I tell you that auditorium is packed to the hilt every year,
Wow.
parents who they don't see throughout the year, they're there for that program because they're going to see a baby on stage.
Yeah, I remember my son played the trombone. I was like, oh, Lord Jesus,
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm gonna
But
be
how many,
here.
yeah, but how many
No, he played the
programs do we go
trumpet.
to now?
Sorry.
Yeah, but how many programs do we go to now where we kind of going through the motions,
All of them.
right? We have to bring that excitement back. We have to bring that excitement, that vigor, that excitement. But if teachers are happy, you'll get that excitement. If
Hmm.
administrators are happy, you'll get that. And if students are empowered, they'll carry the whole energy. But you got to put them in it. We have to stop being afraid to tell our own stories, not just from the Black History book. We are Black history, our stories. South Carolina is ground zero for Black history in America.
That's true. That is
There's
so true.
so much here that's not told. I meet young people in Ridgeview and I mean in Ridgeway and in Blackville and other places. They have no idea how their town was built. They have no idea
Wow.
what's gone into establishing that community. They're not being told on a consistent basis.
Wow.
And we wonder what there's an African proverb that says children who are neglected by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth.
Okay.
And we
I've
wonder
heard
why
this.
our children aren't participating in the civic process and why we're doing some self-destructive things in our community. That neglect, we're not teaching them what they're standing on. They're not being taught to value the history and the richness in where they live.
Okay, awesome. I heard you say that your fourth graders are reading on a seventh grade level and your ninth graders on a 12th grade level. I think that's awesome. So what's your enrollment rate? Like how many students are enrolled and how many people are
Well,
graduating? I mean, that's awesome.
we're quality over quantity in our program.
Okay.
And it's just as much about developing a workable model that we can share with the community as it is
Okay.
about growing our school per se, right? So in our online program, we work with between 35 and 40 youth per year.
Okay.
In the campus program here at Hopkins, about that same number,
So
right?
basically you guys have a charter school,
Private.
private.
Private school. Yeah,
Okay.
we have to make that distinction.
Right.
Private school equals education freedom.
So I'm glad you said it's private school.
Hmm.
So now, with you all being a private school, and you know that the state has allowed that people who go to private school can now get the $7,500 a year
Yeah,
for the student school voucher.
right.
Has your school taken advantage of that opportunity yet?
Yes. As a matter of fact, both the campus program and the online program are vendors with the school choice for the education scholarship program here in South Carolina. I
That's awesome.
believe, yes, I believe in public schooling. I do. I believe in the public school system,
That
but
was my next question.
I also believe in parents having options. I also believe in you having options, particularly when that system is not listening.
Okay, I believe in options too, so I'm glad you said that.
Hmm.
So there's this group called unbundlers.
Okay.
Okay. Unbundlers. How do you feel about them getting the $7,500? Because
You have to educate me on who the
the
unbundlers
unbundlers
are.
are they're not in private school. They're
Hmm.
not in public school. These are the people who parents teach them at home or a relative.
Homeschoolers.
But see, a homeschool, from my understanding and research, if you're in a homeschool, you need to be connected to a homeschool association,
In
right?
South Carolina.
Yes.
Yes.
But these people are not connected, which makes them unbundlers. They're not bundled with anybody, while they're
Okay.
called unbundlers.
All
And
right.
I don't know. I guess the interpretation was,
Mhm.
off. And I know I'm gonna talk to Ellen when she and I get together.
Okay.
Um, they were able to get the $7,500, okay,
Okay.
for their children when they put them into the
Mhm.
scholarship thing.
Mhm.
And then they dipped on out the state with the money, right? So it's basically Betty Sue or
I'm
Mary
interested in.
Jane. They done
Okay.
got this money. They're gonna teach their children at home, and then they done gone.
Well,
So
okay. Well,
as the
I'm interested.
superintendent,
Okay. So the
how you
interesting
feel
part of
about
that.
unbundlers and my
Okay.
$7,500 tax
Well,
money?
okay. Your explanation kind of breeds questions, right?
Okay.
All right. So, my understanding with this program, money never really touches the parents' hands, right? It goes, my understanding, at least with our parents, because of course
It
we're
goes
tuition-based
where?
school. We give it, we invoice the parents, and then the money comes to us as the vendor.
Exactly. But
Now,
the
as a
parent, as
homeschooler,
an unbundler
uh-huh.
who's not connected with the
Hmm.
homeschool association,
Hmm.
they're the vendor.
Okay, so are they currently living in the state?
They probably got the money and they probably still live in the state and they're probably teaching
Well,
their
you ain't gonna
children
do no
on the
heck of a
road.
move with 7,500, you
But
know.
they're probably taking their educational system on the road. Let's go and tour the country type
Well, hey, you
education.
know what? I'm sorry. I'm okay. So then, if that's a scenario,
I said
I
it's a
support that.
possibility.
Okay, okay. Well, if for the unbundler that's using their homeschool funds, their tax dollars, to
Uh-huh.
provide their children with an education that's based in learning and traveling, I support it 100% because traveling is learning. We don't all have to teach the same way. The beauty of being able to homeschool your child is that you can tailor the education to your child. Everybody don't have to sit down
What?
for 6 hours and read a reading book and a math book. And that's the beauty of education freedom,
Now,
right?
this is my next question though.
Hmm.
What qualifies them to be teachers and to take tax dollars?
Oh, okay. Well, I will tell you that many colleges and universities prefer homeschool students.
Really?
Yes. Now, I've been in this industry for a long time,
'Cause I know when
right?
my son graduated
Now, look,
college, I mean
I
high
know,
school.
I know some brilliant homeschoolers and homeschool teachers who are not certified teachers, right? Now, I'm not being funny, but we got certified teachers that aren't qualified to teach. Teaching is not about a piece of paper that you learned in school, that you picked up, that you earned in school. Yes, it's a metric for us in the public space to
Mhm.
measure who we want teaching our children. But you have a right as a United States citizen in your private space to educate your own child, to find the resources you need to teach the stuff that you don't know, right? And take that responsibility in your hands. And we'll see what comes out of that, right? In the future, right? But so far, I haven't seen when last time you was on the news and they say store got robbed, probably by a bunch of homeschooled kids.
Never.
You haven't seen that. Now you have seen store got robbed, such and such
Mm.
went to such and such high school.
Yeah, I've
So
seen
so we
that.
so we have to open our minds up to new ideas. There are homeschooling parents that probably could bring ideas into the public school space that would turn things around. But again, the way things are done, it's been monetized. And you can't change it without affecting somebody's pockets. And whoever's pocket's gonna be affected, they're gonna make you afraid of the outsider. Oh, don't do the homeschooling. Don't do that. Ooh. Oh,
Gosh,
what do they have a certification? Ooh.
I got you. I
You
got
see
you.
what I'm saying? Baba, like when I get to the master's degree issue, because if I talk enough, I'm gonna make some noise, right? If they
Right.
let me talk and people start thinking, somebody gonna say, I want to vote for him, right? Then that rule gonna come up. If he ain't got this, he ain't got no degree. Ooh, and I'm gonna say all y'all got degrees and we rank 44th.
Okay. And what is your position on standardized testing? And would you reduce, expand, or
Opposed.
reform it?
Opposed to standardized testing. Let me be
Okay.
clear. Opposed to it. I'm opposed to it because number one, it does not measure the potential of a child.
Okay.
Number two, it's culturally biased. Period. Always has been. Right? And number three, you should never tie the money that's going to fund a school to how well a school performs on a test. Ever. That's unfair. It's unfair to working class communities who rely more on government funding than upper class communities that also have booster clubs and people that are going to come and subsidize everything anyway. Am I making sense?
It makes sense.
I believe students should be assessed and measured, but not labeled and punished because they don't meet a certain metric. You don't, I'm not with that. You can hold schools accountable for outcomes, but to simply oversimplify things with a standardized test is not fair. And a standardized test that administrators can't even see. They can't look at it. They don't know the results. You got to wait for the state to tell you how well you did on that exam. All right, we're just going to trust the state. With the volatility that's going on in politics right now, there's so much money in failure. But okay, all right. I know administrators say, I know we did well. I know we were ready. Then the results come back. We're failing school again. And then you don't say they failed the test. You call it a failing school. You call it a failing school. What does that do for morale?
Drops it.
What does that do for student confidence, teacher confidence?
You got a point. Okay.
So that's how I feel about it. I ain't gonna get too much on my soapbox, but I'm opposed to standardized testing. I believe we measure, we assess, and then we plan based on those assessments.
Well, you're talking about the strength of public schools and them being funded on how they do their testing. But how do
Mhm.
you ensure public schools remain strong while expanding private and charter schools?
Mm. Well, number one, I think we need to recognize there has to be some regulation in some areas, right? And that's a discussion we have to have. It's so easy to drop a charter school in the middle of a working class community, and they're sitting there and they're just warehousing children, and all they have to do is turn in sign in sheets, turn in enrollment, and it's a money grab. They're like, okay, we can fail this test maybe 3 years in a row till the contract come back up. But by then we've cleared 3.5 million. So if we lose the contract, big deal. This was just a money grab in the first place. We have to call those companies out. But see, these companies are the companies that are taking your superintendents out to lunch. These are the companies that's taking your leaders out to lunch and donating to their campaigns and that sort of thing. So when their charter applications pop up and it's such and such charter school that's based out of it could be in state, out of state, or whatever, got this national charter conglomerate. When their application comes up, it's an automatic stamp yes. And they bring this cookie cutter approach into the community that's harmful. You got to call that out. And you have to. I'm not friends with any of these people. See? See why you need a Bob Amin in the race? Because I'm not friends with any of these. They don't know me. They gonna come up and talk about how hood I am and all this kind of stuff. I don't care. I'm ready for all of that. They're gonna talk about, they might call me the woke mob. I don't care. I'm ready for with all of that. But what the people need to do is be educated on these relationships, call these relationships out, and that's how you regulate it. And that's something that neither side of the duopoly, the Democrat Republican Party, has been willing to do.
Please educate these people on what woke means when you get there too, okay? Because
Oh,
they just
absolutely.
take that word and just throw it
Mhm.
around like they right, and they are so far from right. I
So far
promise you.
from it. So far from it.
What policies would you implement to improve school safety?
Uh, Um, I believe that prevention is the best security.
Okay.
So one thing I want to make sure is that we're balancing prevention with intervention. I would want to make sure that if we're going to have a student resource officer or a police officer at the school can't also look like a jail.
All
All
right.
right. Right. And we need to understand what color therapy is. We need to understand how you can use culture with paintings and images on the wall to help create a climate that's conducive to peace, a climate that's conducive to that. We need to understand that children are coming to school with trauma. So why not invest in having support circles that your students with incarcerated parents, they need to sit in a support circle, maybe even before they go to class, just to unpack that morning. Students with drug addicted parents, they need a support group before they go to class that morning. I know, and that's why I'm so against the standardized testing, because it doesn't take into account what children are going through that may inhibit learning. If I come to school hungry, I ain't trying to do no math, and I might slap the first person that step on my shoe. But it ain't nothing personal. I'm hungry, right? Ain't nothing personal. I'm thinking about my daddy this morning that got shot last year. I'm thinking about my brother who just got 40 years. That's on my mind. And now I'm in the classroom with another child who brother got 30 years. And because we don't know that about each other, we're taking our anger out on each other. But perhaps if we had the opportunity to sit down and find out that we had more in common than different, we'll look out for each other rather than attack each other.
Understood.
So
Gotcha.
we would in other words, we get rid of zero tolerance discipline policies.
So you pretty much started answering my next one. How should schools address mental health while maintaining academic focus? And I think you pretty much just answered that.
Right. First of all, recognizing that you're dealing with human beings.
Right.
We need to rehumanize our children, particularly African American children have an image problem. When many of them walk in the room, there's already an assumption about who they are, what
That's
they're
true.
thinking. They're inundated with media and images that says it's cool to be a gangster, it's cool to be loose or sexual, or you understand what I'm saying? And so
Yes,
so
sir.
when they walk into school, if I might have woke up in the morning, the little girl might have woke up in the morning and said, "Who I'm gonna do good in math today?" Got in the car, and mama, holding parents accountable, mama got Sexy Red playing. So she got in the car mathematician. She got out the car bad B.
Gotcha.
She had listed a bad B anthem. So now you come to class, you ain't getting a mathematician. You getting a bad B in class. She's still in bad B mode. We need to recognize that, right?
Right.
As our families have to recognize that. We have to recognize that though, and put things in place to help ground our children back into their humanity and their true self so they can learn.
Awesome. Okay. How much
My
authority,
opponent's gonna say they're gonna try to steal all my talking points. Look,
how much authority should the state have over local school districts?
how much authority should the state have over local school districts?
Yes, please.
Um, I believe organized local school districts should have authority over the state.
How so? Elaborate.
Well, that's the way a democracy is supposed to be set up, right? If you're the state representative, you're my
Mhm.
state representative. If I'm the superintendent of education in South Carolina, I'm a servant leader, right? That means we have to put mechanisms in place to where I hear you. You tell me what to do. You tell me what you want, and you don't move off of it when I come back and give you the corporate explanation as to why we can't do it because I'm listening to special interests. I'm not listening to you. Who is the state if it's not the people? The state and the people are supposed to be a part of the same mechanism, right? And
Right.
so in other words, just like no kings, just like how America was founded, the state is here to protect us. The state is here to organize our dollars, organize our efforts. Wait a minute, whose efforts?
Hour.
Our efforts.
Okay.
And I think a shift in mentality will go a long way, especially among most of us are working class people. We are really the silent majority. MAGA took over because Trump was able to tap into the white working class. Yeah, yeah. And they came in with a bunch of working class ideas, stuff they heard on the internet. Cause we not privy, working class people ain't privy to all the nuance, you know. So you can see it, right? Well,
Right.
we have to wake up the working class and deal with what comes with it. And we got to break some of this classism up and give people a voice.
Okay. When, if ever, should the superintendent intervene in a district?
Hmm. Well, my number one answer would be when called, right?
Okay, so let me give you an example.
I'll talk to me.
Okay. So you remember the Richland One debacle, the
Yes, with
wasted money, the
yes,
procurement issues.
yes.
The state came through and said, hey, this ain't right.
Hmm.
Okay. So I'm gonna tell you about my background for a second. I'm in
Okay.
accounting.
Okay.
Okay. So I've dealt with companies or organizations where a state official said, you didn't do this right.
Hmm.
I don't want to pull your funding. I want your answers, right? So
Right.
they gave them answers like, I'm gonna say they answered the questions, but they didn't answer the questions. Let me give you an example from my background.
Okay. Okay.
They had money from the state, and the OIG said, nope, that's not right. Uh, you didn't do X, and they gave them this long list of things they didn't do right under
Right.
each section.
Hmm.
So the director of that nonprofit, she tried to be slick and she answered, "Well, we did according to statute XYZ. We
Right.
did it, but technically, Richland One under the old board and old superintendent, they gave those petty answers, as I'm gonna call them, as
All right.
be a little bit respectful. The
Okay.
answers were petty.
Hmm.
So Superintendent Weaver was like, nah, that's not right. Her team was like, nope, that's not how it goes. We need real answers. They didn't give real answers. So when she said that, well, may have to come in, take over the district, then all of a sudden they wanted to have a conversation. Okay.
Hmm.
And I think where my issue is for any district, I
Hmm.
watched Superintendent Weaver. Okay.
Hmm.
I have no problem with Ellen. I'm gonna be honest
Hmm.
with you. Right, wrong, indifferent. She treats all school districts the same. She is
Okay.
for the children. She'll
Hmm.
come in and take over a white school district, just like she take over a black school district. She
Hmm.
just wants things decent and in order. She
Hmm.
wants to be able to have a conversation with
Hmm.
people
Hmm.
who will come in and give her the same respect that her office is giving them
Right.
without them saying, well, this is a racial thing. Okay. So
Unless it is. But sometimes even when, because sometimes it is. I'm not talking about this scenario though.
I'm going to say this scenario, looking at it from the outside. Okay.
Hmm.
When you're sitting on the outside and you're looking in, you know the players from the state, you know the
Right.
players from the district.
Right.
And with me being in the community, listening to different people,
Right.
and I have to admit to you, I get things that weren't even asked for, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
People go, hey, I know I can trust you to keep this, but they're building at 2 and 3 in the morning. Who the hell builds at 2 and 3 in the morning unless it's something wrong, right? People's
Right.
homes got flooded. A sitting commissioner blamed the homeowners for their homes getting flooded and showed zero empathy.
Mm. Not good.
Exactly.
Hmm.
But the state gave them every opportunity, right? The
I'm gonna
state
tell
then
you.
took a step back. Hold
Hmm.
on a second. She
Go
took a
ahead.
step
Okay.
back. She knew election season was coming up, and they waited till election season went over.
Hmm.
They got four people of integrity, as I call them. And I've been on record at the school board saying this. We got four people of integrity out of seven sitting on
Hmm.
Richland One school board, and I stand 10 toes down on what I say. That's just
Right.
me. Um, those same people have formulated a plan, a winning plan, especially with this new superintendent. Now, he wasn't
Hmm.
my first choice when I heard about everybody, but I
I know
will
Mr.
say,
Walker, good brother.
he wasn't my first choice. But
Okay.
now that I've gotten to know him, I've seen him in action. I
Hmm.
will say that I'm kind of impressed with Dr. Walker. Todd Walker
Yes.
came through and he doing the darn thing.
Right.
And the
Right.
state just lost, went from caution from fiscal caution to fiscal watch. Okay.
Okay.
The state is not about to intervene. So I give Richland one mad kudos right now.
Right.
So my question to you,
Mhm.
when should a superintendent intervene in a district? And be fair,
Um,
it's not, and don't, and let's not look at it from a race perspective because,
no, I'm
like I
not. No, I'm
said,
not.
I've
I'm
watched
looking
this
at it. I'm
lady.
looking at it from a I'm looking at it from a people perspective, from
Okay,
a, that's who we're here to protect. At the end of the day, we're here to protect students, we're here to protect families, right?
right,
Uh
and tax
what
dollars,
what in tax dollars, right?
because I don't have a child in
That's a
school
part of,
anymore, but I
and
need
that's
my
a
money
part of, and that's
protected.
a part in protecting your tax dollars, right?
Exactly.
Uh if we have local leadership that's not dotting the I's and crossing the T's,
Hmm.
that's not being transparent, there has to be accountability. And this might drive some people the wrong way because I'm as pro-black as they come. I would probably come in quicker than Weaver would, because I'm not happy because I see somebody that's a superintendent. I'm not happy because I see us on the school board. Yay, but are you serving the people? All my skin folk ain't my kinfolk.
Say it again.
Are you serving the people? And when you
Exactly.
don't do that, we're moving in, and I'm gonna try to move you out as best I can, unless you do. If we don't set that standard and bring those consequences in love, we can't really get anything done. Because some people have careers. We need people with commitments.
I like that. So I have three closing questions for you.
Sure.
I went over your 30 minutes, so I thank you for being patient with me.
That's mostly my fault.
That's okay. I'm loving the conversation. What is one education policy you would reverse immediately if elected? Just one
Education.
now. Just one. I saw your face. You about to give me a list.
Anything that look and smell like zero tolerance. I
Okay.
believe, yeah, I believe in mitigating. I believe you have to take mitigating circumstances in account when dealing with children. I don't believe in giving fining, $500 fine for a working class family for a fight. You know what I'm saying? Is different than a $500 fine for a middle class family. You know what I'm saying? But zero tolerance, and then I definitely go in and look at the relationship between the school system and the criminal justice system.
Number two, what is one issue where you disagree with your own party? So you're the citizens people. So I'm gonna
United
let
Citizens
you
Party.
you're the citizens party. So
Hmm.
I'm gonna let you expand that. What's one issue where you disagree with Republicans and Democrats? Combine
Uh,
it. I'm gonna be nice to you. Be nice.
um, I would say standardized testing would be one.
Okay.
I guess I did that would be a big one. Yeah, so we'll
One.
leave it there.
Okay.
Standardized testing.
And my last question, and I want you to be honest.
Okay.
Why should voters trust you with the future of South Carolina's children?
Voters should trust me with the future of South Carolina's children, because my whole professional life has been dedicated to centering children. Voters should trust me with the future of South Carolina children, because I see the beauty in South Carolina children. I see the genius in South Carolina children. And I work with South Carolina children without a huge salary from somebody else. You can trust me because South Carolina families are already trusting me. They're trusting me with my model. They're trusting me with my training. They're trusting me in the schools that we're setting up throughout the state. You should trust me because South Carolina came to me and asked me to run. I don't have a career. I have a commitment, and I'm only running because the people asked me to. And that's why you can trust me.
Well, Dr. Baba, I thank you for your time. I
No
thank you for
problem.
your energy and your passion. I'm neutral in this
I
campaign for
say,
everybody, but I wanted to give
okay.
everybody an opportunity to share their platform, their voice, and their vision for whatever position they're running for. So that's
Well,
why I
I
reached out to
appreciate you as
you.
well. Yes.
I
Well, I
thank you.
appreciate the opportunity, and keep up the great work. All right.
Thank you so much. You have a great day now, and good
You
luck
too.
to your campaign.
Thank
Keep
you.
them talking.
I will.
All right. Bye
Peace.
bye.